In a world obsessed with innovation, one of the most profound blueprints for leadership comes not from Silicon Valley, but from Renaissance Italy. Over 500 years ago, a Florentine diplomat named Niccolò Machiavelli wrote a slim volume that would echo across centuries, The Prince. Dismissed by some as cynical and praised by others as brutally insightful, Machiavelli's treatise remains one of the most influential and misunderstood guides to power ever written. But why, in an age of artificial intelligence and hyperconnectivity, are we still talking about a political philosopher from the 16th century? Because the truth he unearthed is timeless. Machiavelli's genius lies not in advocating ruthlessness for its own sake, but in understanding the true mechanics of human nature and influence. He saw the world as it was, not as we wished it to be, and offered strategies for leaders to survive, adapt, and thrive within it. And that's precisely why The Prince continues to resonate with CEOs, politicians, military generals, and even life coaches today. In a modern context, his insights can be viewed less as a doctrine for tyrants and more as a psychological lens into power, how it's built, maintained, and lost. It's not about cruelty, it's about clarity. It's not about manipulation, it's about mastery. Consider this. What if everything you thought about leadership, about being nice, being transparent, being always fair, was only part of the equation? What if beneath the surface of every successful leader there lies a quiet strategist, a tactician who understands when to charm, when to threaten, and when to disappear? Machiavelli didn't just write about kings and conquerors. He wrote about us, our ambitions, our fears, our relentless desire to lead, to win, to survive. His central premise? Power is neither good nor evil. It simply is. And the wise leader learns to wield it with eyes wide open. Of all Machiavelli's lessons, none sparks more controversy than his unapologetic embrace of deception as a tool of leadership. To be successful, he wrote, it is much safer to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. And more importantly, a wise ruler cannot and should not keep his word when it puts him at a disadvantage. These aren't the words we expect from a leadership coach, but therein lies their power. Machiavelli understood something that many modern leaders struggle to accept. In the real world, truth is often filtered through perception, and influence is a game played in shadows as often as in daylight. Now, before you recoil, let's clarify what Machiavelli meant. He wasn't endorsing cruelty or betrayal for sport. He was identifying a strategic mindset, one that recognizes the unpredictability of people, the fragility of alliances, and the reality that not every truth must be told, and not every intention must be revealed. In today's world, this might translate to something as subtle as negotiating a deal, navigating office politics, or presenting a vision to investors. A leader may not reveal every weakness. A politician may frame statistics to influence perception. A CEO may delay bad news to stabilize a team. This isn't villainy, it's strategy. And strategy often involves calculated ambiguity. Think about the top leaders today, those who inspire movements or build empires. They are rarely the most transparent people in the room. Instead, they are often the most emotionally intelligent, reading the room, adapting their language, and using narrative to shape reality. That's Machiavellian, not in the sense of being evil, but in being effective. The psychological core. Here is influence. Leaders who succeed understand how people make decisions. Emotion before logic, fear before facts, loyalty before objectivity. Machiavelli recognized that leadership isn't just about making decisions, it's about shaping perception. It's about managing how others see you, trust you, or fear you. And here's the paradox. A leader who understands the art of manipulation may never need to use it, because awareness alone sharpens the edge. In the Machiavellian mind, Power is maintained not by brute strength, but by subtle influence, not by constant aggression, but by the threat of it. It's the illusion of control that keeps the wheel turning. If deception is the dagger of leadership, then foundation is the armor. Machiavelli never suggested that manipulation alone could sustain power. In fact, he was emphatic. A leader who cannot maintain stability will eventually lose everything. To rule successfully, whether over a city-state or a corporate empire, one must first build something worth ruling. So what did Machiavelli mean by a strong foundation? First, character. Contrary to his reputation as a heartless strategist, Machiavelli argued that a leader must appear virtuous, and in many cases actually be so. Justice, mercy, generosity, even piety. These aren't weaknesses, they're tools, symbols, shields that protect the leader's image while fostering loyalty and respect. He didn't demand that a leader be perfect, just that they understand the image they project. The balance between respect and fear wasn't a moral equation, it was a strategic one. Machiavelli warned that a ruler who is loved but not feared risks being overthrown. But a ruler who is feared and not respected invites rebellion. The true art lies in striking the equilibrium, being approachable enough to inspire loyalty, yet formidable enough to prevent betrayal. In modern leadership terms, this means cultivating a culture of trust and discipline. A CEO who's seen as kind but spineless will be walked over. One who's feared but untrusted will lose their team. The successful leader knows when to encourage, when to discipline, and when to remain silent. But foundation goes beyond personal traits. It also includes institutional structure. Machiavelli emphasized the importance of laws, systems, and support structures. He knew that charisma might win battles, but institutions win wars. Today, that translates into scalable processes, clear hierarchies, transparent governance, and a solid ethical framework. In businesses, this could mean onboarding, systems, performance reviews, value statements, and succession planning. In politics, it means alliances, policy frameworks, and crisis protocols. The modern Machiavellian leader isn't just cunning, they're prepared. They build loyalty not through fear alone, but through consistency, competence, and clarity. They understand that the foundation they lay determines whether their leadership endures or crumbles. And in this foundation lies a paradox. The stronger your structure, the less force you need to exert. Machiavelli didn't just teach us how to gain power, he taught us how to keep it. And that begins with depth, not just dominance. In the unpredictable game of leadership, adaptability isn't a luxury, it's a survival trait. Centuries before, the term VUCA entered boardrooms, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. Machiavelli warned that the world was in constant flux. He believed that fortune or fortuna ruled half of human affairs. The other half, however, was in our control, and the wise leader learns to bend like a reed in the wind rather than break like a brittle oak. This isn't just philosophy, it's strategy. And it's one of the most overlooked truths in modern leadership psychology. Machiavelli wrote, "A man who tries to be good all the time is bound to come to ruin among the great number who are not good." But what he was really saying is this: inflexibility is fatal. Today, entire industries rise and fall overnight. A startup can disrupt a legacy brand in months. Algorithms evolve, customer preferences shift, political alliances dissolve. In this chaotic landscape, rigid leaders become relics. Machiavelli's wisdom teaches us that the most effective leaders are those who anticipate change and evolve ahead of it. They revise their messaging, they pivot their strategies, they embrace feedback even when it challenges their ego. They know when to hold power tightly and when to let it shift hands for the greater good. We've seen this play out in real life. Leaders who clung to outdated hierarchies or resisted digital transformation were left behind. Meanwhile, those who adapted, who turned crisis into opportunity, emerged stronger than before. That's not luck. That's Machiavellian foresight. In fact, Machiavelli believed that the greatest misstep a leader can make is to assume that past success guarantees future relevance. He wrote, "The times and affairs of men are in motion, and they are constantly changing." In other words, what got you here won't keep you here. For the modern leader, this means more than reacting to trends. It means cultivating a psychological mindset of agility, the ability to absorb uncertainty, process information quickly, and make bold decisions even when outcomes are unclear. It's also about emotional adaptability, knowing how to switch tones, adjust communication styles, and read the emotional climate of a room. The modern Machiavellian knows that power isn't static. It moves with emotion, perception, and context. And here's the most strategic insight of all. Adaptability isn't about compromise, it's about control. When you can adjust before others even realize change is coming, you don't just survive the storm, you control the tide. So what does it all mean? Machiavelli's name may echo through history as a symbol of cunning and cold calculation, but beneath the surface lies something more profound. A blueprint for enduring leadership, grounded not in idealism, but in realism. He never told leaders to be tyrants. He told them to be wise, to understand the forces that shape human behavior, to anticipate betrayal before it strikes, to build structures that outlast storms, to inspire loyalty, not through charm alone, but through strength, discipline, and foresight. In today's world, flooded with data, noise, and endless performative leadership, Machiavelli offers clarity. He reminds us that effective leadership is not about popularity, it's about outlasting chaos, navigating complexity, winning the long game. Let's break it down. Understand human nature. People are emotional, self-interested, and driven by perception. A leader who understands this will always have the upper hand. Master the art of strategy. Not every battle is won by force. Often it's the well-timed silence, the withheld truth, the subtle maneuver that tips the scale. Balance respect with fear. Be seen as strong but fair, just but unrelenting. Let people admire you, but ensure they can't hesitate before crossing you. Build systems, not just symbols. Charisma fades, structures endure. Create systems that enforce your values, reinforce your vision, and outlive your reign. Adapt relentlessly. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. The only path forward is through evolution, personal, professional, and structural. These aren't outdated strategies, they're survival skills. In business, politics, or personal ambition, Machiavellian wisdom is a compass for the brave, not the ruthless. Because at its heart, The Prince is not a book about domination. It's a manual for navigating power in a world where people lie, systems fail, and loyalty is fleeting. It's not immoral, it's pragmatic. It doesn't destroy ethics, it demands clarity. And in a world increasingly ruled by surface-level leadership, where likes replace loyalty and buzzwords replace backbone, Machiavelli's words cut through the noise like a blade. So whether you're building a company, leading a team, or shaping a vision, the question isn't whether Machiavelli still matters. It's whether you have the courage to apply what he knew. Because leadership isn't about being liked, it's about being effective. Thank you for exploring Machiavelli's timeless strategies for modern leaders. If this opened your eyes to a deeper understanding of power, strategy, and psychology, then you're already ahead of the game. Like, share, and subscribe for more insights into the minds of history's greatest thinkers and how their wisdom still guides us today. And remember, the game of leadership never ends. Only the players change. Welcome to the arena, and as always, see you in the next video.